actually have been teaching online or hybrid online since the late 1990s. So I have been in this since the beginning with this school and other schools. And they asked me to talk about how to organize your first day teaching remotely. And so what I need to do is get to know who I'm talking to. So I need to know who you are and what you're teaching and what your modality is, because your first day online is really going to depend on your modality. So is anybody here fully online?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so Donna is. Hi, Donna.
Hi.
All right. Anybody else fully online?
Jessica.
Jessica's also fully online.
When you say fully online, do you mean like asynchronous or?
It's asynchronous.
So no,
So
okay.
No,
yeah.
I teach. I have. I actually
Yes, yours
have
is
a lecture.
synchronous. Yes.
Right.
Synchronous,
So
yes.
we've got the fully online that's asynchronous. We've got the hybrid. So you have asynchronous material, but it's supplemented with live meetings. And then we've got the synchronous remote, which is what I'm going to be starting in the fall, where all of our meetings are live. What's an OWL is when the students are supposed to be in the class. So what have I got here? Because our school offers all three. Is anybody online asynchronous only?
I'm remote.
You're remote. So
Fully
you're going to
remote.
be teaching live, right? You
Yes.
and they have to be there at the same time.
Yes.
Right. And is anybody hybrid where some of it's going to be live and some of it's not? Because if we're all synchronous remote, then we know where we're starting. But I have suggestions for each situation. All right. I want to know what you're teaching. So what all are you teaching?
I teach fundamental math with pre-algebra.
Okay, math. Wow. Ouch. I teach English. So I'm an associate professor in the English department. Yeah, I know. We can commiserate or not, since we don't really understand. Okay, so I've got math. What else do people teach?
I'm a PGCPS 5th grade teacher.
Wow.
Get lots of training. Yeah.
Okay.
Plus I also teach adult. Adult ESL.
Okay.
In the evening.
Oh,
and
okay.
Saturday.
I assume in the non-credit, or I would know you because I'm in the credit ESL.
Yes, non-credit, yeah.
Got it. All right. Anybody else? So we've got math. I've got the kids. I've got ESL.
I'm teaching leadership, and it's primarily humanities based.
Okay. Sounds good.
I teach science, biology, chemistry, and earth science.
Okay. Excellent.
Oh, wow.
I know we've got a lot. And then, so they said, I know this is an adjunct summit, but you're not all adjuncts. Have you had to do this before? Did you teach this in the spring, or did you teach a summer class, or is this your first time attacking it?
In the spring.
Okay, so that was fun, wasn't it, Rick? It was a really quick pivot.
It was very interesting.
Interesting is such a good word.
PGCPS offers terrific training. It's a phenomenal county.
That's good. That is really good because you're working with the kids. My kid is in Montgomery County, and that was a bloodbath. So part of what we're doing here, I guess, is helping avoid future bloodbaths by being able to plan from the beginning, which we were not able to do in the spring. In the spring, people got thrown in the deep end. So now I get an idea of what people are doing and how they're doing it. All right. And so, yeah, you can see I try to make things fun to keep my students awake.
Really, you can't control on the student side because there could be little computers, parents aren't available, so.
Right. And so that's one thing I'm going to say about the first day, even though you guys obviously have experience with first day, at least some of you do, is you need to overplan, but keep all your expectations realistic. Because as Donna was saying, there are going to be problems that you would never expect, especially because we have such a diverse student background. So I'll talk a little bit about a fully online first day, although it sounds like most of the people who are here, at least the people who have talked to me, are going to be synchronous remote or a hybrid, but a lot of what we talk about is going to be similar. All right, so they wanted me to talk about first day, but what I'm really going to talk about is best practices for just starting your class. So not just the first day, but just getting it ready. So they told me, hey, why don't you talk about this? And I said, can I talk about this too? And they said, All right.
No, this.
But you're going to be fine. If this is your first time doing it, you're going to be fine. So for everybody, fully online, asynchronous, hybrid, or synchronous, I strongly recommend that you make a welcome video that they can access asynchronously with a tour of your class. All right. Make sure that your expectations are clear and posted in several locations. And the reason I'm saying this is because I teach credit ESL in the English department. And one of my very best students went on to a credit class that she almost failed this summer because she didn't understand a major assignment because the teacher said it one time in a synchronous live meeting, posted nothing else about it in the announcements, nothing about it in the course documents, and the student didn't understand that assignment and how to do it. So even though they're adults, except for Donna's kids, all right, but a lot of us are teaching adults, we have to do a lot more hand holding in an online format or a synchronous remote format. I get frustrated when I hear some teachers or even some chairs saying, look, you're an adult, you're a college student, you are responsible to get what you need to get. We have to give them a lot more than that in this format because we don't really know, as Donna was saying, what it's like in their home. Our students are taking these on their cell phones. I have students who have 6 children in the public schools. They have one device for the parents and the 6 kids. I have students who have to do it at work with a bunch of noise in the background. So, you know, it's okay to be redundant and let them know and hold their hands a little bit in this situation, and they really appreciate it. All right, you want to get them engaged with the course from the time it starts, and having a scavenger hunt is a great way to do that. If you're fully online, it can be a self-grading quiz. When I get to my next slide about doing a synchronous scavenger hunt, I can talk about some more fun ways that are interactive. And Donna's fifth graders will really enjoy this too. Also make another quiz. It's a syllabus quiz. Again, low stakes, but still graded. And that way the students are forced to read the syllabus and know the rules. And then you also have a document and, you know, well, it's documented because you've got the submitted quiz showing that they actually did answer the question and know that something can't be submitted a week late, or that, you know, they can't have a makeup test or whatever your rules are. I found that really helpful to go back to my syllabus quiz and say, what do you mean you missed the quiz and you didn't tell me? You said here, you understand that there are no makeup quizzes, you know, like that. I like that. And then you want to have icebreakers, and we'll talk about icebreakers for synchronous, but even asynchronous, you want to build course community as soon as possible. So of course, the discussion board is your key, easiest place to start with this. But have any of you guys used VoiceThread? It's one of the tools we have in Blackboard. So Donna's nodding. Has anyone else used VoiceThread?
Never heard of it.
So what VoiceThread is it is a tool that can be integrated into your Blackboard. If you're not using Blackboard yet, you will be. All right, because non-credit is going to be transitioning over to Blackboard, is what I'm told. VoiceThread is a voice discussion board. So instead of typing responses, students can record and listen to one another talk. Now, for me as a language teacher, you can see the obvious benefit, but for other students with other learning styles, having the ability to speak and listen can help them understand better, especially if they're oral learners instead of, for example, you know, read, write learners. And it also makes them feel more a part of a community. What's nice about the VoiceThread is it is asynchronous. So for the students who just can't get in there to your live classes, even though we're supposed to require it, the reality is that's not going to happen. They get to feel heard and interact with other students. So look into it. It's really easy to use. It's one of the Blackboard tools, not Blackboard Collaborate, just in Blackboard. When you go into the tools, you can select it and enable it. All right. So, and when you're using the discussion board or VoiceThread, like I said, offer homework, participation points, low stakes. We don't want to scare them off, but you have to give them some kind of a carrot to get them to do this stuff. You can do things like 2 truths and a lie, works well with the younger ones. Do basic introductions with Q&A, things like that. Again, ways to get them involved and invested and get to know each other. And then for the larger classes, our classes are capped at 20, but if you have a bigger class, we have student group tools in Blackboard, and I'm not talking about Blackboard Collaborate. I do not like that breakout group tool much in there, but there are student group tools in Blackboard where you can make smaller student groups, but the students have all the tools they need. Group discussion board, group chat rooms with video and their own Blackboard Collaborate Ultra, file sharing, et cetera, and you can make group assignments in there. So the student group tool has been wonderful for me and my own students. Now for your Synchronous First Day, the first thing you want to do, you're going to post your link to the meeting on your announcement page, but you need to send it by email. Send it the day before, and then send it maybe 10 minutes before you're supposed to meet. Because no matter how many places you put it, you know, since you can't go there and tattoo it on their hand, they're going to be emailing you saying, teacher, I can't find the meeting room. So again, like I said on my very first slide, be redundant. Put your information in more than one place. All right. So when you're in your Blackboard Collaborate session, all right, make sure that you open it to guests, get the link for the guests, and then, like I said, post it on the announcement page, send it in email. Don't assume that the students can just find it on the Blackboard Collaborate Ultra tab. They can't, especially not the first day. And again, like I said before, make a welcome video before the class starts. Put your syllabus and other course information there before your Synchronous First Day meeting so that they have time to look at it and download the documents they might need. You will have 100% for sure have technical difficulties. All right, it's just going to happen. Roll with it. Reassure your students that these are normal. A lot of our students are not comfortable with computers, especially some of the older students, some of the first-time college students. All right, a lot of my students, well, all of my students are immigrants, refugees, or international students, so they may have come from a background where they didn't have computer access, so they don't really have computer literacy. Our school suggests that they have it, but it doesn't require it. So they need a lot of reassurance because you don't want your students saying, oh my gosh, I can't hear it, I quit. You know, now, if the students cannot hear, there are a couple quick fixes. They may need to close out, clear their browser cache, and then rejoin. And if they still can't hear it, they can still use the dial-in on their phone. So they can listen on the phone and watch on the computer. But don't get bogged down helping them with that during class, because that will also happen. So plan for their tech difficulties. I know this isn't really organizing your first day. It's just getting prepared to go to battle, so to speak. All right. I recommend that you have a welcome page that lists your agenda. It explains to the students how to interact and reminds them to keep themselves muted unless they need to talk. So whenever my students go into my Blackboard Collaborate Ultra session, I already have up there projected a PDF, because you can't do Word, it has to be a PDF. All right, and it's like, welcome to this class. You can interact by typing in the chat box, and I have the picture. You can also interact by raising your hand and then asking a question. And please keep yourself muted unless you need to speak. And I have that every single class to remind students how it works. And of course, I will take them through that. But make sure to remind them to keep themselves muted. And remember, you guys can mute your own students. We have background noise all the time. Like I said, my student with her 6 children at home, oh my gosh, the noise. And I have students doing it from work, students doing it from anywhere. They are not in ideal situations, so it gets pretty crazy loud. So I just remind them, hey, I'm going to mute everybody. You know, don't feel bad if I've muted you. You know, it's not personal. There's just some background noise, you know. And they start getting comfortable telling each other, hey, could you mute yourself? You know, once you make sure that everybody feels comfortable and that it's a safe space, they will speak up and say what they need. So anyway, your very first day, whether you're meeting for 50 minutes or 4 hours, you need to take the students on a tour of your course, and you have to get them used to collaborate. If you're lucky, they've done an online class before, but a lot of our students are new, so they won't have done it. Some of them will have done it in the public schools with a different platform. All right, so Collaborate and Blackboard may be new to them. So you're going to take them on a tour of the course. Talk about your course netiquette, all right, how you want them to behave, especially in the synchronous class. It shouldn't have to be said, but it does. Remind them not to take their phone to the bathroom with them, because they do. All right. And, you know, remind them that they shouldn't be having other conversations or watching TV or whatever it is while you're in class. Again, you don't think you have to tell them, but they feel anonymous and safe. They're sitting in their house. They forget that we can hear everything that's going on and that we might be able to see everything that's going on. All right. And then we've got some other things just to get them comfortable. So I would recommend the first week you have additional Collaborate practice sessions that are optional. You know, again, low stakes, but say, hey, come in here with me. We will practice together. Now, I know adjuncts don't have a lot of time. Adjuncts are working for 3 or 4 different schools. You have another job. But again, this amount of time that you invest in the first week, you know, you'll be glad that you put it in, because then later everything will move much more smoothly. And it can be part of your office hour or something that you're required to do anyway. It's still worth it. So again, make games and icebreakers that make them comfortable and familiar with the modality that they're using. So for example, if you're using Blackboard Collaborate Ultra, you can have a trivia game or a Pictionary. Obviously great for the 5th graders, but the adults love this too. All right. So you can toss them out questions, and then they're using the Blackboard Collaborate Ultra to interact, because they can type, they can draw, and they can do other things on the whiteboard, but also any file that you project. So if you've projected a PowerPoint, or if you've projected a Word document from sharing your screen, you know, they can write on some of these. So make it fun while they're getting used to it. All right. Ask them, like I said, trivia questions, or you can ask getting to know you questions. All right. And then ask them to use Blackboard to type the answer. And while they're doing it, when it's just play, then they get comfortable with it, so that when you're actually using your course content and wanting them to interact, they're ready to do it. All right. Pictionary, like I said, is also a lot of fun. It gets them used to drawing. In Blackboard Collaborate Ultra, you can privately chat with each student. So just send them a prompt. They will draw. The other students will guess. Again, it seems maybe silly, but if you're teaching science or math, you can still tweak this so it's related to science or math. You can make them be drawing some kind of a math concept or a science concept that they should know. And I would recommend that you don't make a big deal about how the students interact. Of course, we want them talking, but again, they don't all have the technology to be able to speak and talk, you know, orally, smoothly. So if they're using the chat box, that's fine. My students, by the end of the summer, were joking around with each other. Some were using audio in their mics, some were using the chat box, and it became seamless. They were having fun. They were fine going back and forth. You just don't want to make them nervous. And then, as I've said before, if you're using Blackboard Collaborate Ultra, I would say avoid using the breakout sessions for the first day. I don't know if you guys have ever used them. Have you ever used Blackboard Collaborate breakout sessions? It's on there, and you'll learn it in your Collaborate Ultra training. Don't do it for the first day. I just warn you. It is not worth the trouble. And then also, if you teach a long class, remember that the Zoom fatigue is real. All right, people get really exhausted in this modality. So make breaks, you know, mix it up. They need to be able to get up and walk around. They need to be able to go to the bathroom, grab a drink, you know, and mix it up more than you even would in a regular classroom, because it is exhausting sitting just in front of a screen. And I know we're almost out of time here, but again, for building your community and enhancing your rapport, the discussion boards and voice thread are wonderful. Make a students only discussion board, and consider making a students only BBCU, that's the Blackboard Collaborate Ultra, student lounge, a room where they can go and talk to each other that's always available. My students loved it. They would plan meetings together. They'd go into that BBC CU room, and they would meet and chat and socialize, and it made them feel a lot less isolated and a lot more of a part of the class. And again, as I said before, if you've got a large class, break it up into the Blackboard student groups and let the small groups get to know each other better. Again, I wouldn't necessarily do that for the very first day unless my class was huge, but it's a really valuable tool. Chat with your students at the beginning of each class. Get to know them. Who are they? What are they taking? Why are they taking it? Where are they working? And again, lots of games, even though they're adults. I like to use quizzes, which is like Kahoot. It's just even more fun for the kids and for my students, even though they're adults, to make competition. You know, friendly competition gets them to feel more comfortable. It gets them more involved. It gets them more motivated. So it's a great way to start a class or to end a class. You can just pop a link into your BBCU chat. They can follow the link and play a Kahoot or play what I like I said, it's called quizzes. They can play that on their game, you know, on their phone, on their computer. It takes 3 or 4 minutes. And then I have students who are laughing and engaged and ready to interact. All right, so, you know, I went over time by 2 minutes, but any questions or any suggestions? You know, I hope this was helpful. I have no idea.
Very good, very good.
Thank you.
Hey, this is Ray. This is great.
Yeah, I love teaching online. I mean, I love teaching. I love teaching face-to-face. I love teaching online. I love teaching hybrid. I sort of love synchronous remote. I don't necessarily adore synchronous remote, but I make it work, and you guys will be able to make it work as well. Do you have any questions or suggestions?
This is Jessica. I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I teach math. I find
Yes.
it difficult to do a math problem that we're not all looking at. Is anybody else here doing math? And do you have any suggestions about how I might make this more effective?
Yeah, I do math too. I do math and science.
Who does math and science?
I do.
Who's I?
I also.
Oh, Jane. Sorry,
Oh,
Jane.
okay. Yeah, it doesn't always show me who's speaking. Oh, hi. Hi, Jane. Yeah, and you know, you can use the Blackboard to project a Word document. You can share your screen, so you can put up a math problem or put it in a PowerPoint if you can, so that they can write directly on it and work through the problem together. They can see and write and interact using Blackboard Collaborate Ultra. So if you're projecting the problem, they can work it through and write the answers as they're going.
Is that only if they have a touch screen computer?
Well, a mouse, you can do it with the mouse. I do it with the touchpad on my laptop. I don't touch my screen. I find that it's not that hard. It depends what symbols and things they need to type, because a lot of it, if they can do with the keyboard, it's great, but it's not hard to use the touchpad or the mouse. All right. Jane, do you have any suggestions for that? You teach math?
No, I did the same thing. I actually used the whiteboard. I actually write on the problem itself and follow it through. Mm-hmm. Just like you said. I'll go back and forth to like a whiteboard. I'll put the problem on there to show it, and then write on the actual, like it's the actual document, write on the actual document and break it down that way so they can actually see it. So basically like what you said. And then also another thing is have the student tell you how to do the steps one by one.
Right.
And then you're listening to them, and then, you know, make sure you model it like 2 or 3 times.
And I know that's what my son's math teacher does with him for his high school math. And it worked pretty well because I was watching them to like poach suggestions.
Yeah.
So
my problem is science with labs, with activities.
Oh my gosh, the labs.
Yeah,
I thought the labs had to be real. I thought that the labs were having to go in and do the labs.
Yeah, I don't do labs. I told him no.
That's
I'm
fair.
not doing a lab. I told them they can figure it out themselves.
I mean, my son's science teachers try to make him do labs at home. You can imagine how well that goes.
Yeah, it doesn't go well. It's hard. My hard thing is activities to get them to do. But they don't have a lot of stuff, some of my students, so.
Right. It is really hard when they don't have stuff. And I've had to be an advocate for my students. The school does have some technology that it can loan out. It's just you have to fight tooth and nail to figure out how to get it to your people. And I had middling success, but now I know who to go to get them some technology. Yeah. Any other questions or suggestions? I think you guys have to get to something else, right?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. I hope you guys are having a good Saturday. I mean, I only came here for this one thing, to meet you guys and be your cheerleader and say you're going to have fun and you're going to do great. Hopefully to
love
give you
this
some
session.
ideas.
I like these sessions. All right, I'm
Yeah.
gonna get going. Bye.
Bye. It was so nice to meet everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye, everybody. And feel free to contact me. I'm Holly Gray. I'm in English. If you have any questions or suggestions, I love talking about this stuff.
Thanks, Holly.
Bye, everybody. Oh, hey, Ray.
Hey,
I know, Ray.
been a while.
I know. I'll probably never see you again.
What?
It's so sad. I'm kidding. Oh, like you left us at UTC anyway.
Stop it. I'm on Zoom any day, anytime.
But I'm not allowed to be on Zoom. You know how the school is?
I'm on Collaborate. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm on Collaborate all the time.
All right.
All right.
Take care. Good talking to you.
Bye. Bye, everybody.